All right, recording has started, so we are good to go. So I'm going to start just before any other person unmutes their mic to start asking questions. I'm going to ask the first question. Now, how do I reclaim my shares? Like that's the most popular question that I've had. How do I reclaim my shares using First Securities?
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Stanley. The very first thing a broker wants to know, or the registrar wants to know, is what are the origin? How is the origin of the shares? How do you come about the shares? How did you buy it? Right now,
Okay.
we've had several instances where people would say, "Oh, I bought it a very long time. I don't even know how I bought it." In a country like Nigeria, where we have a lot that has to do with identity issue, it's very, very important for us to be able to ascertain the true identity. Several people bear the same string of names in Nigeria, and it's easy for one person to claim something that does not belong to them. So, anybody in the capital market, any participant in the capital market, the very first thing is, how was this shares purchased? Now, we understand that a lot was done during the era of a lot of public offer, 2006, 7, 5 ish. And a lot of people lost interest in the market because of the crash of 2009, and they left
Okay.
it thereafter, right? We've seen instances where people used names that don't even exist to buy shares. Now, in that instance, you now ask yourself, how do you reclaim it?
Okay.
It's tricky, but of course, there are guidelines, you understand, to reclaiming it. If you have documents to prove you purchase them, i.e., the offer document you filled at the time, it's a good place to start. If you had bought through a public offer, a rights issue, or something that was offered, primary placement. So the document which you submitted at the time of the purchase is a very, very good indication, you understand, a very good place to start with, right? Better still, if you have the share certificate, it's another indicative way, you understand, to start. Now, before getting a little bit into the details of how you can retrieve some of these things, let me explain how it works, basically. Capital market operators, when it comes to, shares. On the one hand, you have the registrar. They keep the entire register of shareholders of every company. So, i.e., Vitico has its own registrar that keeps register of all shareholders, and the name of the registrar is called Datamax. In that same registrar, you have Seplat, you have AXA Mansard. So Datamax keeps the register of all these companies. So you have different registrars that keep register of all shareholders. So if you're an eligible shareholder, the registrar would have your records with them. Now, in the course of, because it's been a long time, we're talking about 15, 18, 20 years ago, some of these companies have changed registrar, i.e., for example, First Holdco, that's First Bank, moved from First Registrar, they are now with Meristem. So you can imagine, in the process of transferring the corporate registrar of shareholders from First Registrar to Meristem, there might be missing data. So it's now, if you're coming to approach Meristem, a registrar that's just taken over the register of, like a First Bank, and you want to claim a shares you bought in, say, 1994, right? You must be willing to prove beyond all reasonable doubt that you are one and the same person. So it starts with, how did you buy the shares? What was the identity you used then? Is it still in line with the same identity you have today? If that ticks, yes. Now, they might ask, depending on the size of the accounts and things like that, they might ask a few questions. You know, do you remember about the year, the period you bought the shares? It's more, the registrar is trying to ascertain to trace, to be able to ascertain that you ownership, the true ownership, the correct trail, before they allocate this asset. Because when the asset is allocated to anybody, it's as good as gone. It's more like they've given somebody the money. All right. So the importance of trying to ascertain how this investment came to be, the origin, is to be able to make the work of the stockbroker, because the stockbroker is going to be the liaison person between the shareholder and the registrar, to say the stockbroker would go and say, Mr. A has come to me. He said he has shares in XYZ company, right? Now, I've collected documents from Mr. A, and I'm presenting Mr. A's document because I've done KYC on Mr. A to you to say these shares belong to Mr. A, kindly credits. Now, the registrar will go into its own books and records. First, they have to look at the signature you signed at that time. Some people, their signature is not so regular. Someone like myself, I always have issues, trying to sign at the bank because my signature is barely regular. So if someone like myself is signing, you understand, like 10 years ago, and I'm signing today, most likely I'm going to have issues, right? So, but the registrar will still go further and say, okay, if you give me a little bit details, you understand, more like, can you ask the shareholder to provide share certificates? If I'm able to provide that share certificate, it's another level of comfort it gives to the registrar to be able to say, Mr. A, that company XYZ is presenting to me, is the true owner of the shares. So it all starts with how was the shares purchased? Then what documents do you have to be able to link you up with the shares? It could be share certificates, it could be copy of dividend stubs they used to send back in those days, it could be a receipt, you understand, of purchase issued at the point of purchase, something to be able to link you to this thing. Then ultimately, identity has to be the same. In the instance where the identity is not the same, i.e., the name is not the same, then you might be requested to provide a lot more documents, you understand, for them to be able to regularize.
Sorry, so that I can just get you correctly now. So now are they sending these documents to you, or is this an automated process?
It's not an automated process, it's highly manual, right? Let me give you an instance. If you approach me and say you bought shares in Transcorp in 2007, and I'm asking you, okay, you bought it in 2007, was it the public offer of 2007? And you said yes. I'm going to ask, is your signature still the same? If you tell me that your signature has not changed over the years and is very, very regular, all I'll need to do is open a CSCS account with you. For you, I mean, a CSCS account, just like you have a bank account. A CSCS account is a depository account where you warehouse securities. It doesn't hold cash, but it holds stocks, it holds bonds, right? So I'll open a CSCS account for you such that when you have the certificate or you have whatever evidence with you, such that when when you present that document to the registrar will convert it from the current form to an electronic form in your name. When you have it in a CSS account, you have access to it. Then you can be able to trade, buy more into it, or sell. You understand? So
Okay.
if a CSS account is now created for you, based on the documents you now have, I'm going to give you what we call a dematerialization form, because we want to convert it from the current form, which is supposed to be physical, right, certificates you're carrying, to the electronic form in your CSS account. So you complete the dematerialization form, provide a copy of your ID. Of course, you would have given it to us at the point of account opening, and we'll present that document to the registrar saying you've approached us and you've said you have shares in this company. Kindly credit your CSCS account. Put it in the electronic format where you can have access to buy more or to sell.
Okay. So now, for this sounds a bit technical, and that's why people need you, a broker, a proper broker, for them to access this. It sounds a bit technical. So for the people now that for example, you mentioned something around people that were using like fake names. I am very aware that people were using names, companies that did not exist. They were just using okay, Chukwu and Sons, this it didn't exist. There was no document, it's not a name, it's not illegal. They bought shares with those things. That was right back as those. So now for those kind of claims, how do you solve those types?
Okay, very good question. Now, you know, I started with saying we need to ascertain the origin. So if you have used names which probably were fictitious and did not exist, probably obviously you should have the application form you filled at the time in those names
Okay.
and the signature you signed and you sent to the registrar to be able to buy the shares. If possible, evidence of payments. Now, if you have that document, all we need is copies of the documents. Then you need to provide us a court affidavit saying, I, Mr. So so so, or I, Miss So so so, bought shares in XYZ names, and because of what and whatnot that was happening at the time, identity and whatnot, right? That I wish to tell the public and the registrar that I bought it, and they should acknowledge the fact that it's more like you're swearing under oath,
Okay.
to be able to reclaim these shares. So this will form part of the document you present. Also, the registrar would also ask you to present a statement, a letter from your bank confirming your signature. We call that letter a banker's confirmation letter, right? You can get it from any branch of your bank. It doesn't take time. In like 10, 15 minutes, one can be prepared for you. You understand? And the letter will be addressed to the registrar in your current name. So the registrar needs to be able to first ascertain your current name. Then you need to provide those documents you signed back then with the signature you signed back then to alongside and say, hey, this is what I am. Oh. But back then I had bought in these ABC names and I've attached a sworn affidavit, see my banker's letter saying I have a bank active bank in Nigeria and which is functional, and the banker's letter most likely will state the date your account was opened. So usually, the registrar will not honor any account that is opened less than 6 months. So the banker's letter must be referencing an account that is more than 6 months old for them to be able to deal. So we gather all these documents and we'll present it to them. Now, if the registrar does not feel comfortable with what we've presented to them, they can insist that we bring the shareholder to their office for physical interview. And sometimes some of them will say they will do virtual, with technology, Zoom, Teams, and whatnot. You understand? And you can just get past through the process. Once they are comfortable, they will do the needful.
Okay. So another question that I got a lot was that my father, my uncle, my aunt, my guardian, they have shares. They want to hand the shares over to me. And now I want to claim shares worth 100,000 of GT Bank shares, 300,000 of Zenith shares, or people that have said even some old companies that, some 1995 companies that have transitioned into new companies, or some that don't even exist. How can some of the shares, are some of them gone? How can I claim some of the shares? Just the things that, how can I claim my parents' shares that they want to hand over to me?
Okay, for in that instance, let me start with companies that are not that are no longer existing, right? You can only be shareholder in something that is still active. A business that has gone under, unfortunately, is gone under. Possibly, you can assume that that investment is possibly lost,
Okay.
right? Now, on the part of the parents passing shares to the children or their offspring, the very first question is, are these parents still alive? If the answer is yes, the best way route to go through it is the parents would be the one to endorse the documents on behalf of the kids, or perhaps they'll write a letter to the registrar to say, oh, I bought at this point. We'll present the parents' letter, we'll present the child's document, and the registrar will be able to match both together. And of course, if there's any requirement, further requirement they might need, they would advise. Now, in the instance that the parents are no longer alive and the children want to claim the shares, right? The very first question we'll be asking is, did the parents leave a will? If the answer is yes, of course, you must have registered that at the court to be able to get probate. This document is part of what you would use to open a bank account and, of course, an estate account with the CSCS through a stockbroker. Now,
Okay.
part of the documents that will be requested for is death certificates, obituary or newspaper publication notifying the general public of death. But if the parent did not leave a will, the children need to approach the probate court to get what we call letters of administration. So the letter of administration is going to be appointing specific people to administer the business or the affairs of the estate, which is the deceased parents. Now, once you get this, it's the first step in many, which we will have to do. Thereafter, you have to do what we call transmission of shares. Transmission of shares is a process which involves changing the title from the deceased name to the estate name. So, for example, let's say the recently deceased president, President Muhammadu Buhari, when he was
Yes.
alive, you refer to him as Muhammadu Buhari. So now, if, for example, the children want to take over his affairs, they have to convert his name from Muhammadu Buhari to Estate of Muhammadu Buhari. So the word
Okay.
estate indicates that the person is deceased and there are people behind, you understand, running the business or the affairs, you understand, of that deceased. So transmission is the process of converting the name in the human form, you understand, to the estate form. So that has to be done with every registrar that the shareholder has investment with. It takes a bit of time, but give or take, if documents are tidy and all in place, it can be completed within 2 to 3 months. But sometimes it can take years because people don't even usually have documents.
Okay. So now for the people now that are not aware of what the estate account is, if your parents have passed on, you need to open an estate account. If you notice from when you go and fill that, for the people that went to that to the website for the unclaimed dividend, it will ask you for your BVN and ask you for an account number for it to be able to give you, like, to transfer the shares to you. So you need an account number. Now, that's your old parent account, and all the estate documents legally makes you the person that takes over that estate. Even if you go to court, maybe your auntie, your uncle might be dragging the property. That one, you guys can settle it in court. But once they've established legally that you're the one that is supposed to, that is the heir of that estate, and you're the one that is supposed to manage that estate, because you can be the one managing the estate on behalf of your whole family, then legally those shares can then move to you. So a lot of people have this complaint: oh, my father wants to transfer his shares or he has passed on. Now, for the ones that are alive, how do they go about it?
Yeah, the ones that are alive now, it depends on, it all speaks to title. In what name did the parents buy the shares? Sometimes I can decide to buy shares for my children, but the shares will still be in my name. But I know that these shares are for my children, right?
Okay.
You've seen that instances. But I can decide to now buy the shares, in the name of my children. So
Okay.
if I bought the shares in the name of my children, all the children need to do, basically is open a CSCS account, since the parents had bought it in their name already anyways,
Okay.
and we'll do what we call a dematerialization. Now, to help hasten the process, it's very, very important for the child to know a bit of the history of how and when the shares were bought. because this type of questions could be asked at any point in time, and you expect that the beneficiary to be able to give appropriate, answer to this.
Okay.
Uh, the child will be requested to provide a banker's confirmation letter to regularize the accounts. Now, if the father is or the parent is alive, you understand, the parent can also write a letter informing the registrar that, hey, I bought it in this person's name. This is how I signed then. So if the registrar still have documents or the signature of the parent, how is or he or she signed at that time, it helps hasten, the process, because it gives another level of, comfort, because all the registrar is concerned about is identity. I don't want to make a mistake. I don't want to give what belongs to Mr. Abiodun to Mr. Abiola. You understand? So if the shareholder is able to provide adequate document to be able to support the claim that my parent bought it for me in this during this period, I have evidence to show that I'm the owner. Here are dividend stubs I've received in the past. Here is a copy of the share certificates I have, and things like that. Then it makes it easier. Now, one thing also that which is actually very, very important also for the general public to know is this. I know we've seen a whole lot of people, going on the platform, checking and saying, oh, if my name is there, if my name is not there. There are no speculations about these things because, as I mentioned, in Nigeria, many a times we bear almost the same sequence of names. I've seen like 2 or 3 people that bear exact same sequence of my names, and they are
Your
not
own,
me.
your own
My
name.
own names, my 3 names, and it's not me, right? And it's there on that SEC portal. But because I'm a market practitioner, I know that say these ones are not, they don't belong to me. You understand? Because I've never invested in it and my parents did not buy anything for me. You understand? In those names. So of
Okay.
course it's easy for me to know that yes. And even on social media, I've seen a few people that bear exact same sequence as I do, right? So it doesn't mean that one of them will wake up tomorrow and see my own personal investment on the portal, thinking that I can go and lay claim to it. Because the registrars are also not foolish. In the
Okay.
course of approaching them, some of the questions they might ask you might be related to what address did you use when you bought it?
Okay.
So if I live in Surulere or I live in Ikoyi or I live in Egbeda or I live in Ikorodu and you are saying, oh, you live in Bodija Ibadan, the registrar obviously know they are not stupid. So in the course of engagement, most likely they'll be able to ascertain whether it's you or not. So before you approach any broker, it's very, very good to be armed with facts relating to ownership of these shares, not just speculating, because it gets embarrassing on your part, on the part of the broker, taking something that does not belong to you, trying to lay claims to it.
Okay. I want to just pause here. I have a number of questions. I don't want to also there. We have a number of people here. So please, for all the people that have questions, please unmute your mic one at a time, and then we can start to throw our questions in. Just raise your hand and then you can unmute you from here so that your question can come in. Can you guys hear me? I don't know. Okay. All right. You can hear me. So Benedict has a question. All right. So please, Anthony, I'm going to start with you. Anthony, please unmute yourself and then ask your question. Hello, Anthony. We have you. Hello, Anthony. Please go ahead. If we can hear, we unmuted you. Please, can you go ahead? Oh, Anthony, in the absence of Anthony, please let's take Benedict. Benedict,
Okay,
please
good
can you?
evening, everyone.
Good
Yeah,
evening,
good
Ben.
evening, everyone.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good evening.
So I'll try and keep my question short and simple. So I'll start with a very short story so you'll be able to understand the context of my question properly. So I recently went to CSCS to go through some shares with my father, right? Just to see how our investments are doing. And then when we went through all the shares he had, we had seen that there was a fraudulent action that happened on shares he bought about 7, 8 years ago concerning a particular company. And apparently the CSCS office told us that people that had shares with this certain broker at so point in time have had this same set of situation. Okay, good. So moving forward to how what like obviously I'm older now, I'm more educated and stuff. We have new shares that we've gotten and they're still under a broker's name. So my question would be, how does one properly know or manage their shares where you don't fall into that type of situation again? So I remember going to Corona, they told us all the shares we had, blah, 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 and all that. Yes, I get it. But how does someone properly, like, why do I have to leave it with a broker? Can't I just go to my phone or go to my app and I check the shares, even if it's in my father's name or like the company's name? Like, I want to properly monitor the shares we have so that we don't fall into the same victim of where maybe 10, 8, or 11 years from now, you go back to these shares and you're hearing that, oh, a broker has been um taking or has been selling your shares, because that's the experience we had. So that's my question.
Okay, thank you very much, Benedict. I have a few questions, you understand, to be able to get perspective of what you're talking about. Is your dad still alive?
Yes, very much. Thank God
He's
for
very much
that.
alive. And his shares were sold by a broker 7 years ago. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Yeah. Let's say 10 years ago. Yes. Correct. They
10
were
years ago.
first bank shares. Yes. That's correct.
Okay. Now, is the broker still operating? Does the broker still have an operating license?
No, so according to the CSS, they said that they tried to track down that broker, but like they could not trace them. So they don't exist anymore. They don't have any sort of license anymore. They don't exist anymore.
Okay. All right. Okay. Benedict, what I can say is this, right? Many years ago, say pre 2009, everything was just free for all. But today, regulation is a lot stricter. People who are not what we call capital market operators, you understand, we're taking people's monies and doing what's not and what not with it. And of course, people also were signing all sorts of documents they have absolutely no knowledge about at the time. I don't know what might have transpired, why shares were being sold, or when it was sold some years ago, but there's always a part to the story, right? Now, the only part you might know is the shares were sold, which obviously is a statement of facts, right? But that being said, the way the market is structured today is we have the CSCS, which is the central depository for all shares,
That's
right?
correct. Yeah, that's
Right.
correct.
Now, we also have what we call dealing firms, right? Broker dealer.
That's
And
correct.
one of them is for securities. We have about 240 last time I checked, right? 240 broker dealers, right? CSS cannot do KYC on everybody in Nigeria, 240 million people. But CSCS expects that stockbrokers, such as for securities, know their clients. And as a result, CSCS map these clients under brokers because the broker should know the clients. You can only sell through a broker, you can only buy through a broker. So if you are selling through a broker and you're buying through a broker, the broker must have done KYC on you. Now, back then, people were doing whatsoever they like. So, and even in the US, right? In the US markets, whether you go through an app or not, right? You are going through a broker. You don't hit the market
Okay.
directly. You are trading through a broker's
Okay.
platform. And the reason is
Okay.
this: you cannot interact with the markets if you don't have, the capacity, the size, the skill, and the resource, you understand, to be able to deal. Because who is going to take care of your settlements? You understand? When you run into issues, who is going to do the oversight regulatory functions on your account? Just think about it like that. Now that you
Yeah,
have a
so
bad
the
experience with a broker, you understand, does not mean that brokers are bad.
okay,
You
thank you for
understand what I'm
this.
saying?
Because the only thing
Yeah.
that gave me a bit of satisfaction or peace of mind was that I know that now, if you want to sell your shares or if you want to sell your shares, I just want to confirm that what they said is correct. That you can only whatever shares you want to sell would only be sent to the account number you provided. Is that correct? Like there's a
Now
registration.
that's what we call direct cash settlements, right? You could opt for a direct cash settlement, which means the proceeds will be paid directly by the CSCS to the bank account you provide. But for people who trade, they can't do DCS. We call it DCS, direct cash settlement, because you want to buy and you want to sell the same day. You understand? So if you are selling from with me right now, and I know that CSCS is paying you in 3 days, and you want to buy from me using that same money that CSS is paying to your bank account, I can't allow it. So that's why you find some customers who would say would rather have the broker settle our trades rather than the CSCS. But if if the DCS, direct cash settlement, is what your preference is, it's fine, right? The money goes directly into your bank account, and it's the CSCS that is responsible to paying directly to you. But either which way, whether it's a CSCS, whether it's a stockbroker, on T+3, you understand, you can request for payouts.
Okay. So sorry, just one last thing, so that I would know
Yeah.
that I'm on track. So when they printed out the broker that was in charge of our shares, we could see it when we went to CSCS, right? So that means what you're telling me is that I need to go and first get a good relationship with that broker, right? And secondly, I know that when they paid, because when you have shares, there's dividend that they pay to you as profit, right? I know that that profit was paid to my dad's account. So does that mean everything is fine? All I need to do is just go and have a very good relationship with the broker that we're attached to.
Now, you said the broker is no longer in existence. Have
Oh,
you
no, no,
moved
no.
the account?
Oh, no, no. Like I'm saying, what we experienced before, the shares we had before was with a different broker, but that broker is not in existence anymore. But the
Okay.
shares we bought now is with a new broker.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So that one is accounted for. We received dividend from it when
Okay.
the company we bought shares, we declared profit. We saw that settlement was made to our account. So like
Okay.
that's going on fine. So I'm not saying to avoid what happened to him 10 years ago. That's what I was asking. I want to make sure that does not happen with this new broker that we have now.
It's unlikely to happen, you understand? If nothing goes wrong with the brokerage house, even if anything goes wrong with the brokerage house is not allowed to sell, you understand, without the client's authority, right?
Okay.
But what I'll tell anybody that is investing, right, in the market or anywhere, wherever your heart is, even as the scripture says, you understand, that's where your treasure is. Would you have money in your bank account, you understand, and you will not look at it? Most
Okay.
likely, you still
Yeah.
check your banking app. Most likely, you
Yes.
still talk to your account officer and things like that. So, what is different with talking to your stockbroker and asking one or two questions once in a while? I
Once in a
think
while.
it's
Okay.
important.
It's
I think it's
important.
important to always, you understand, touch base.
Yes. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. I have Abiola here. Abiola is also capable of
Yeah,
answering questions.
yeah. So I mean, it's good to be here. Just to throw more light to what Benedict's questions were, right? Another comfort that we have now in the market when you have your account domicile with any broker is the fact that anytime there is an instruction from you, whether it emanates from you or not, anytime there is a transaction on your CSCS account, for control purposes now, we have what we call an S alert, which means that anytime there is a transaction on your account, you get an SMS S alert from CSCS. saying transaction, a buy or a sell has occurred on your account, right? So
Okay.
in other
Yes.
words, when you get that and you didn't give an instruction, you are concerned that what's going on.
What's going
Somebody
on?
is trying
Okay.
to do something on my account. And if I understand perfectly well, what you're trying to ask the other time, while my colleague explained about direct settlement, in today's transaction also, we don't have, there is a control around third-party payments. So once you open a CSCS account, you have your bank account, in today's settlement, I mean, your proceed of your whatever is being sold on your CSCS account can only go directly to your personal bank account. So take, for
Yes.
example,
Yes.
even when we do transactions and we profile you online at for security brokers, for example, we don't know what happened at the back end while you are online, right? And if somebody by chance get onto your account online and initiate transaction, because we are giving you direct market access, you are trading on our platform or you have direct market access. It means that you can hit the market from your platform. So anytime there is a sale on your account, the control that is there is the fact that you have your bank account registered with your account. So your
Yeah.
proceeds of that sale goes to your bank account. So whether it's with your knowledge or without your knowledge, you get money paid into your bank account. Except
Yeah.
if the way of some other means people have crafted into your account and then you do not know that
That
they are
taking
going
the
to your
money.
bank
Yeah.
account exactly without your knowledge. So we hope that that helps.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I have a lot of clarity now. Thank you so much. Thank you. Please, can you type out the name of your
Hello.
brokerage, please, on the in the chat box so we can copy it out.
First Securities is First Securities. Abiola, if you can just type it out in the
Okay, that's fine.
All right. So let's please. I want to take the question from Andrew.
Okay, thank you so much.
All
Thank you
right
so
then.
much for this opportunity. My question is this. In the case where you talk about the process of claiming shares for a parent who is late, and it seems very complicated, as though almost like something that is impossible. Now, in the case where one's parents probably died when they were much younger, and the children were not so had not gotten to the stage of accountability where they were aware of these things, and the parents was not that really open to these things, but you now feel okay based on these recent happenings. Probably you did a search and you are a bit convinced, having asked some questions, that your parents had is the owner of this particular share. Are there any preliminary confirmations that one can do to be able to ascertain that, okay, this is actually, because you mentioned that, yes, of course, people can have bear the same name in the same sequence. Are there any preliminary ways people can ascertain that this belongs to my parents? And if they can, is it possible to claim such shares? That is because if the parents, one of the children was a next of kin to the father at that time. Is it possible? And this is something probably that has happened probably 15, 20 years ago. If for parents who died at that time, I don't know, is it possible? That's my question. I don't know if you understand my question.
Yes, it's very, very possible. Now, the question, everybody's story has a particular peculiarity when it comes to estates, right? Now, the process of getting access to your parents' assets is pretty much simple. It's not just related to stocks alone. It also affects property. We call it, if your parents did not have a will, we call it letters of administration. You can approach a probate court to get letters of administration, right? Now, letters of administration is a legal document, you understand, that assigns you the rights to administer or to manage or to take over, you understand, the control of the assets of a deceased. So once you're able to get that at the probate courts, but of course, before you approach the probate courts, it's always important. I always encourage people, to try to sort out family issues, because if you approach the courts and you're approaching it on a grounds that is not too legal, it could bring forth, all sorts of legal matters in the future. But that's something between people, the parties, you understand, trying to sort out their business on assets of the deceased. So once you have the letter of administration, the process of getting letter of administration is you approach the probate court, and the probate court will ask you to pay some fee, and they will give you what we call a document. They call it bank certificates, right? What bank certificate basically does is this: you take it to everywhere you think your deceased parents have assets. If you present it to them, be it the bank, be it brokers, be it registrar, anywhere you think they have assets, it's a legal document. The moment they see it, they must disclose what assets they have with them. So just imagine your parents have an account with, say, UBA, and they died 20 years ago. If you present that document to UBA, UBA is under the obligation. It's more like a court order. They must look for that name in their records, and they must disclose what assets he has, what cash balance he has. Now, everywhere you are going with that document called the bank certificate, each one of them will write their name. For example, UBA will write the name, UBA, United Bank of Africa. This person has 1 million naira as account balance as at this date, and they will stamp it. Now, when the letter of administration is going to be prepared, they will ask you, what asset does this deceased person have? He has a house in Maitama. He has a farm in Onitsha. He has businesses, you understand, in Oshobo, and things like that. All these assets will be itemized in the letter of administration, right? And based on that, the government will value these assets at a nominal price is usually very much smaller than its fair market value. And they'll ask you to pay what we call tax, you understand, to the government, to the probate courts, right? Now, upon that, they will grant you the letter to say, now officially we recognize you as the administrator. It could be one person, it could be two, it could, depending on how the family wants it, right? Now, based on this document, you know that you would have taken the bank certificates to the registrar of the company you think your parents have they have assets to. And once the registrar see this document, they know that it's more like a court order instructing them to disclose whatsoever asset belong to the deceased. The registrar will ask you questions to be able to ascertain, you understand, the identity of your parents, right? Now, because one of the things they are likely to ask you is, how do you know your parents have these assets? Is there something you might have seen? Have you seen a dividend stub? Have you seen a certificate? There must be something that would bring this indication. Which address do you think your parents must have used? A whole lot of questions for them, because they are also trying to be very, very careful, and they also want to ascertain our identity. Once they are able to say, okay, this belongs to this person, and of a truth, this person is deceased, they will disclose on that document. So after you've gotten your letter of administration, right, you now approach a stockbroker that you want to open a CSCS account. Now, the stockbroker is going to ask you for the letter of administration. At first, securities brokers will ask for the letter of administration. We will go and confirm that letter, that document at that same court. Even if the court is in Sambisa, we send someone to Sambisa to go and confirm that this document will did emanate from you, because we don't just take it, we need to validate every information that is being provided to us. Upon confirmation, we'll ask for a few documents: obituary, death certificates, newspaper publication, ID of each of the administrator or signatories to the estate account, and a few other things, right? These are basic things that you can easily lay your hands on, right? Then thereafter, we would approach the registrar, you understand, on your behalf. That is if the account is in CSCS. But if you need to do change of ownership, which I call transmission earlier, right? You will still need to present this document to the registrar. The registrar will do evaluation. They ask you to pay a token for them to be able to convert the account to an estate account. Mind you, every document you're also giving to the registrar would also send people across Nigeria to go and validate everything, because they need to be sure that these people coming forward trying to claim the asset of this person that they have claimed that has died, you understand, that of the truth this person has died, and these people are authorized by the law, you understand, to take assets, to take possession of it. We've seen instances where people have come forward to say they want to claim the assets of someone that is still alive, and they are claiming that he has died. You understand? So there's a lot that goes through, you understand, the verification. But the more information, the more knowledge you have about these assets, the easier the process becomes. You understand? Rather than just speculating, because the moment they start asking you a question and you're saying, I think, then, there's a bit of, confusion. There might be a bit of aversion, you understand, or reluctance, you understand, in attending to your request. Thank you.
All right. I don't know if Andrew got all this thing, but want us to speed up because a number of people still have their questions unanswered. So Andrew, if we've not answered all your questions, we'll come back to you. Let's take from Elendu. Elendu is next. Elendu, please, can you ask your question?
Yeah, hi. Good evening, everyone. Okay, so like Bayo Don rightfully said, everybody's cases has its own peculiarity. So okay, so let me give a bit of backstory. So back in the day, 80s and all that, my dad was this mogul, always buying shares, buy, sell, blah blah blah. So fast forward to today, right? My dad is in his old age and he's suffering from early onset dementia. Anything dating back from 2024 downwards, he doesn't remember anything about his life. Yeah. So when this whole thing about searching for shares came up, I went and I checked, and because knowing my dad, that was his major source of business back in the day. Oh, obviously his name came out in like a few companies, here and there. So with the registrars and everything. So my question is this: he's alive and well, but he doesn't remember. He doesn't have the mental capacity to pursue any of this. It makes it tricky, because everything that has been discussed here so far has been between life and death. But what if somebody is alive and doesn't have the capacity to claim his assets? So I remember you said something about you go some, we're not, most of us were not really, we're only here because of the reality, the current reality. Outside this, we don't know anything about stocks. So I know you mentioned that you go somewhere first, then you get like a legal document that authorizes the registrar or whoever is in charge to disclose the amounts of the assets and everything. So the whole process seems strenuous. My first question is this: how am I able to know the exact value of these shares to determine if it is worth the stress or not? Because my dad is sick, We don't, God bless us all. The shares have value, but if they don't, nobody wants to be running around over, peanuts. Then, secondly, how far what roles does my father have to play with his current state, and where can somebody then take over and continue with the process of reclaiming? Because we don't know whether to proceed or not, and we don't want to forgo what we don't know when it comes to value.
Okay. Thank you, Elendo. Of course, I sympathize with you, and God will continue to protect him. Now, for your dad that most likely does not remember, one thing I know is that the old school people, they keep records. He must have a file, right? Go and check his file. The file, you most likely will get clues to what he has and where he has them. Because one thing there is this: if you approach the CSCS, they most likely will not disclose to you. And I can imagine you can't even take your dad around. Then another thing I would like to ask is, do you still think he is able to sign the way he used to sign back in the days? If he's able to sign the way he's used to sign back in the days, it could be helpful. And the reason is being, you can still write letters for him and you give it to him to sign and you present it, you understand, to wherever he might have this investment. But the first process might be you want to initiate what we call a global search on his behalf, right? And that's where his signature is needed. Since he's still alive, you understand, he must still be able to authorize it. So if his signature is still consistent to what he used to use back in the days, it makes it a lot easier. Now, if that is not the case, right, there are different options that are available, right? But it's important to first get a clue, you understand, where and how he has done his business. Maybe he might have a file somewhere or something like that to be able to trigger this type of search. Because, truth be told, um sound like there will be hardly anybody who would hear your story that would not have compassion. But of course, there will also be a lot of reluctance, you understand, in trying to give you unauthorized access, you understand, to his investment while he's still alive. Do you understand? Because it could be also a breach of, privacy kind of thing. You understand? So if you get an indication where his investment might likely be, you understand, you can take our details, you understand, and we'll have conversations about this and see how we can help you sort it.
Oh yes, okay, thank you. Because I searched and I've already seen some of those in that portal. I saw, the names and all that. Of course, you were saying something about name sequencing and all that, but I know, like, when I saw all the companies, it's already because growing up and everything, all those dividend letters and everything. That's how we were brought up. He had a lot of them. So at about eight, I mean nine of them came up and everything. UBA being one of them. So what you said is fine. I know. As for signing, hopefully, it's because he has maintained, as he said, his old school. He has maintained one signature all his life. But and I would also, because the fact that he doesn't remember doesn't mean that he doesn't have his faculties are very much okay. So maybe I can join him and search and get as much details as we can. Maybe I'll just start from the global search and your details, and we'll take it up from here. I don't want to. It's complicated. I don't
Okay,
want to
sure.
take too much time here. I don't want to
Okay,
take too
sure.
much time.
All right. Thank you.
All right, so let's take the next person. So Elendu, you can reach out. You can just take the email. Their email is on the this. You can reach out to them directly. Let's take the next person. The next person is Anthony. Anthony, please, your question, if we can hear you this time. Hello, Mr. Anthony. Okay, 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 Ogene. If you can hear us, can you unmute yourself?
Hello, yeah, good evening.
Yeah, good evening, Anthony.
Yeah, sorry, network is crazy. Yeah. All right, so while I was in school, 2008, 2009, I think my final year, there was this rave about Transcorp shares, and I think I bought some amount. I can't even remember the amount because that's like 17 years ago, thereabout. And after the university, I used my address of my parents somewhere in Apapa. But since then, I've relocated to like 5, 6 places. And right now, I don't have, I can't, I think I misplaced the certificates. And because at some point they were sending us slips those days, of the dividends, but I didn't pay attention to it because it was so tiny. So I wanted to know, is there any way, knowing the fact that knowing my current the address that it was addressed to, and also my signature is still the same, is there any way that I can still retrace my shares with Transcorp?
Yes, Anthony, I think your case is pretty much straightforward, right? I believe the name is still the same.
Yes, it's still the same.
Okay, all you just need to do is open a CSS account, fill a DMAT form, and we submit it to the registrar. I think it's pretty straightforward. It will be done.
Okay. Is it a physical thing? I have to go to the office?
No, 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 no. If you fill our own account opening form, right? Once your account is created, send your request for a DMAT, right? And you fill the form, send it to us electronically. You don't even need to visit our office. It will be done once it's in the account. You get your statement and you are good to go.
All right. All right. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Then also, I wanted to ask, what's in the case of somebody that is deceased and you run a search, but as it is right now, you don't have any of the documents of the person. Is there any way to reclaim? And you found the person's name in the system. My family name is one of a kind, so there are very few people that has it. And you find the person's name in the system, but there is no document or anything to say that this person bought shares, except the person's name and some other places where he signed. Is there
The
any?
thing there is that, are you authorized to even, you understand, take possession of this person's assets? Right? You understand? You can only deal with people who are authorized, and the process of getting authorization is approaching the probate courts.
Okay.
So
All right.
once you get that sorted, anybody can respond to you.
All right. What I'm asking, my dad bought some shares while he was alive, and he worked with the CBN. So
Yeah,
aside the signature,
irrespective, it might be your dad. Does not make you, you understand, automatic. You understand, person to
yeah,
take over his assets, right?
yeah, I know.
So yeah, so once the probate thing is done, you sorted on the legal side, the court side of things. It's pretty much easy to deal with every other thing.
All right, no problem. Thank you
Yeah.
very much. That's all. Yeah.
You're welcome. Yeah.
All right, thank you, Anthony. Let's take Habib. Habib Aremu, please mute your
Yes. Thank you very much, Bayun. I can't see the full name. And online banker for this episode. My situation is pretty simple. My dad is still alive. They bought us shares with First Bank for myself and my brother, and I reviewed that particular shares a long time ago, maybe 12, 13, 14 years ago, and it was very tiny at the time. So I don't know how is it possible for us now to kind of, reclaim those shares. Is it by doing a global search with the name, because it was our names that were on there, not our parents' names. And at the time, I think it was like 45,000 naira. That was a very long time ago. That was what they bought. So now I'm just trying to see, what the value of that is now.
Okay, Habib, did he buy the public offer or he bought through a broker?
That's what I don't know. I don't. It was just I
Okay.
had the shared documents. I used to have that document.
You used to have, do you still have a copy of any of the documents?
I'll have to go to like the house to find it.
Okay, yeah. Once you go to the house to find it, right, send us an email with that document, with a copy of that document, you understand, we would advise. Because if you bought through a public offer, the process is pretty different from if you bought through a broker. If it's with a broker, you understand, all we would just need to do is try to make you reestablish relationship with the broker. And if you want to move it to our position, we'll advise you on what to do, right?
Mm.
But if it's through public offer, we would need to set up an account for you and try to dematerialize the shares into it for you to be able to have control. So once it's in a CSS account, it's easy for you to fill the NIPS SEC NIPS portal and claim your dividend from the registrar.
Okay, thank you. Let me search for it and then I'll send you an email.
Okay, so online backer, looks like you are muted.
Sorry, I'm muted. Sorry, I didn't know I was muted. So there are many people that don't have the share certificate. So I'm one of the people that their parents bought shares for them, and I've not totally claimed all of them, but my siblings are worse off because they are currently not in the country, but they have so many shares. But we keep getting dividends in our mailbox because we had a mail, we had a PO, we have a PO box. So we keep getting the PO box share certificate that indicates all the shares that they have, so we can trace them, even the ones that we can't see on the unclaimed dividends this thing. But we'll keep getting that shares. So how do you go about that?
It's pretty simple. In as much as the shares are bought in their names and the names have not changed, and if the names have changed, possibly because of marriage, right?
Marriage,
Marriage,
yes.
of course, they have to provide the marriage certificate and whatnot. You understand, to be able to prove that this is what I was being and this is what I am right now. Once the CSCS account is created, right, it's just for us to do what we call a global search. We do the global search, it search the entire depository. Now, two things are required for the global search. You need your names, you need likely addresses. You understand you might have used. It's going to help the CSCS to be able to know how to be able to spool your accounts out and say this belongs to you and that does not belong to you, that kind of thing. So once you get what is in your position, it's to approach the registrar with a dematerialization request, right? Now, since they are abroad, the first thing is, do they have a functional bank account in Nigeria? Do they have BVN? Because for you to be able to open a CSS account now, you need to have a functional bank account. Your BVN has to be in order. Your name sequence has to be in order, right? So once all this is not an issue, it's a pretty straightforward thing. This thing can be concluded in 6 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks latest, start to
All right.
finish.
Uzoma is asking, how do we do a global search?
Global search is more to write a letter through a stockbroker to the CSCS to search the entire depository for your name, right? Now, there are instances where people have walked into CSCS office, you understand, to also request for a global search. But many a times it's through a stockbroker because they believe that the stockbroker knows the person they are searching or they are requesting the search for. So for us to, as for security, to be able to do a global search for you, you have to be our client. We need to have your information because we don't want to do global search on people we don't know, for people we don't know.
All right, I'm not seeing. Thank you so much. I'm not seeing a lot of hands here. Now, I have on my platform, if minimum, top of my head, 1,000 people that say they want a stockbroker. So now the question is, how do I get them to First Securities? How can I tell them meet Abiola or meet you?
It's pretty simple, right? We have a very, very easy to fill form to be able to onboard if they want to onboard directly. I will put them on our online, portal. They can send us emails. they can reach out to any of our representatives, you understand, through I'm always on WhatsApp. You send me messages, I'm always, you understand, I'm always typing, like, I have quite a lot of people, you understand, that are always reaching out, and things like that. You can walk into our office, book an appointment, walk into our office, you understand, and we get to talk.
All right, fantastic. For the people on the call, please, if you have questions for Abiola, our time is fast running out. I would like to round up because today is a Saturday. I heard Big Brother is up. I heard there's a match going on. A lot's happening. Let's not keep you. Please, if you have a question, can you so that you can ask? Miss Finance Nation is asking, what's your WhatsApp number?
Okay. Yeah, my own WhatsApp number, it's 08029.
Can you just drop it? Can you
Okay,
drop
let me
it in?
just type it out. I just type it out there.
All right.
Yep.
Abiola, if you have something to add, you can just speak up.
Okay, all right. I mean, it's been a fantastic session. I believe we've gotten clarifications to most of our concerns. Like Abiodun have rightly said, if you want to make us your choice broker, I've already dropped the link for account opening earlier on the chat. That will take you right to fill our account opening form online, get your signature specimen available, get your valid ID card, and utility bill within the last 3 months. You'll be able to complete that account onboarding, and then we'll review your documents, and then we can reach out to you to perfect and complete your account onboarding. And with respect to you looking or searching for your assets that you think you have in the past, as soon as your CSCS account opening is completed, we can get you to do global search. You can also get to start trading in stock again, especially taking advantage of the market at the moment. We do have an online platforms that also allow you to be in control and then become an active trader, see the market in real time, and also trade from the comfort of your house or anywhere in the world. So we at Force Security Brokers, we are much available to help and assist on any other thing that has to do with realizing your past assets. And then if you want to become actively trading in the Nigerian market of today, we're much available to also help in that regard. Yeah, thank you.
Let me just add to everyone that's on the call, if you can hear me. For the people that are on this call, we have a stock market class. I was supposed to be with for 2 days, but because of the people that I'm bringing on board, it's going to be I'm going to extend it to like even a 3rd day so that some people can have a feeler of what it means to trade live on the stock market, so that people can see what it is. Like just what he's talking about, what Abiola is talking about, having an option of trading real time, because a lot of the apps that we have currently don't allow you to see what is happening real time. So some stocks will have dropped by 10 naira or 5 naira, corrected by like 5 naira, and your stock on your fintech might still have not updated, and it's not real time. Am I correct, Biodun and Abiola? Am I correct, so that you guys can know that?
I'm sorry, please. I lost you a bit.
No, I'm just saying that your real time, your real time this thing on your real time stock, this thing, you can see the exact stock and the real what is happening exactly when it's happening. Yes.
Yes,
So
on our online portal.
Your online
Yes.
portal.
Yes, real time. You see it in real time.
All right, fantastic. So for the people that are here, if you want to register for the class, you can check the link in bio on the online backup platform, or you can just I sent all of you an email. You can just reply the email and the link will be sent to you for the class. That's next week. It's holding next week on the 1st to 3rd. So on the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. we're hosting a class, and it will be sent to you. A group has been created for that. We have a number of people on the group, over 100 people. So if you want to join that, and then Abiodun and Biola, please, we'll be asking for you guys to sign up for this thing, the links next week, for you guys to come and onboard people that will be in the class. So I'll reach out to you guys privately for that.
Okay, sure. And you can also follow us also, you understand, we're on Instagram, on LinkedIn, and we are on Twitter, for securities brokers.
Right, you can just drop it in the
Okay.
in the section so that everybody can follow.
Okay,
If you have
all right.
any further questions, Biodun has dropped his phone number. You can DM me on IG. I'll send you, if you can't see their emails, I'll send you the emails, but I'll still respond to the emails of everyone and send them your email so that they can reach out to you directly. For people that are not on this class, after watching this, because this is recorded, so after watching this, they can, if they want to have questions they need to ask, they can reach out to you directly.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So thank you guys. Thank you, Abiola. In the absence of any questions, I will just let you guys go so that we can have like a good Saturday. And I'll send out this recording to everybody that has registered for this. And I'll be sending out the emails of Abiola and Biodun. Guys, thank you so much for this insight.
Thank you for having us. It's really nice being here.
Yeah, to look by Johnson, you said you allow trading of
thank you so
stocks.
much.
Yes. To look where you said, do you allow trading of stocks? Yes. Okay, UK and US stocks. No, it's just Nigeria NGX.
No, we actually trade UK and US stocks, you understand, but it's actually for because we trade in size for these markets. So
Okay.
we've not been able to, just for wholesale kind of.
Okay, but
Your 10K,
can the client
15K
talk to
and
you
above.
directly?
But Tolu, you can talk to me.
All right, fantastic. All right, thank you guys. I appreciate. Have a good night's rest, everyone. See you guys next week.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.